when I consider my squat progression, I like to focus on this journey of reconciling my efficiency in this squat motion, right? I want to be able to perfect it, be able to really maximize all the muscle agonists of this movement, and depending on whether I'm more quad dominant or posterior dominant, right? I want to be able to find out, I want to explore my body. I want to see what my strengths are. I still don't know whether I'm more posterior chain dominant or whether I tend to focus more on the quads, right? Typically with a lot of ankle dorsiflexion, your knees go over your toes, right? Hence they recruit more of your quads, right? But despite that, although being a bit of an emphasis in the in the ATG position, I don't necessarily feel confident with my quads. I tend to have rather large adductors and hamstrings, and in general just the hip extensors, right? And in terms of trying to perfect this movement, trying to find the most efficient and effective pathway, there's a lot of flaws that come with it, and I try to just take these small flaws and work around this. Now in this session, I didn't manage to look through my recordings during each set, so unfortunately I didn't get to realize that that I was leaning a bit to my right side with my barbell. Now this has been a common tendency of me to have the barbell lean a bit to the right, and I guess I can kind of attribute this towards either in general a shoulder problem. So my right shoulder is a bit loose. It's rather unstable, right? So I've got a bit of shoulder instability. But aside from that, I guess when I go down from the squat in the eccentric of the squat and I go back up from the concentric, it seems like I have a bit of a hip shifting towards the lateral region, right? Now, that comes down to the later reps when I start to fatigue and the load increases, right? So there's two considerations: either a limitation of ankle dorsiflexion in my right foot. That's due to my recent sprain, right? Just right here, you can see my friend. I mentioned him before. The first time he deadlifted, he did 120 kilos for a single, and I just thought that was ridiculous. His progression. He's doing 120 for a set of 3, and I just wanted to put it in here because I just thought that was crazy stuff. But yeah, going back to the two considerations, right? That's ankle dorsiflexion, and another thing, or I think maybe the more plausible option is I'm just a lot more right leg dominant, right? So I got a lot more strength in the right leg, and I thus recruit this position more. I rely on it more, and when the load gets heavy and I start to fatigue a lot, well, it's kind of logical to realize that my right leg is going to take the brunt of the force, right? In that sense, the barbell starts to lean a bit to the right side because via leverages, you have more force on that right side. So your right leg is taking more of that load, right? Now, going on from this, I guess another thing I wanted to consider was, again, the shoulder placement, right? Just from the beginning of the placing the barbell on my shoulder, it seems like it does lean a bit from the start. So I know for sure that it can't be the barbell, right? So this occurs even with the barbell at my home and at the gym. So it seems like either it's a muscle imbalance or perhaps it sinks a bit deeper due to my shoulder socket or the AC joint. Now, I was under the assumption that putting this barbell on your back doesn't necessarily put stress on the AC joint. And that's the position of my right shoulder that I've had problems with, right? As a child, I had a really loose right shoulder. So it kind of makes sense that may be one of the causes for this leaning. Now, aside from that, I wanted to talk a bit about the supplementary exercises that I've been implementing. These consist of like unilateral work and back extensions. Hyper back extensions, supersetted with abs, right? Now, the reason why I'm putting so much emphasis on like high volume, low intensity regarding these regions is I really want to make sure that I'm conditioning my core and I want to keep my spine extremely safe. That's the main reason why for like the past two leg sessions, I've been focusing on rather lightweight and keeping my load fairly small, right? Compared to my other sessions, I used to do like 100 kilos for like a 4 sets of 8, right? I was doing very high rep and high load. So I'm trying to slowly introduce it back, see how well I play around with these experiments and see how it goes, right? Now, the reason why I wanted to mention the back extensions were I feel it a lot in the glutes and specifically the stretch in my hamstrings, right? Now, these guys are all recruited regarding hip flexion, right? So this consists of bringing your, I guess like extending your spine, right? Getting your spine and bringing it back, right? Now, when I was doing these extensions, I felt as though I had a understanding of that glute contraction. The more I contracted and squeezed my glutes, the less I felt my erectors working, right? And the less I considered my glutes, the more my erectors were moving, right? So in that sense, it seems like there is a balance that I need to acquire. Maybe I've been recruiting too much of my extensors during, recruiting too much of my erectors while squatting, and that has led to a bit of damage within these regions, or like a lot of soreness, putting too much effort in these regions and not really recruiting as much of the surrounding muscles. Now that would lead to muscle imbalances, a lack of engagement, and not much stimulus in the glutes. And I realized that a lot of the leg exercises that I actually do, I don't feel a lot of stimulus with the hamstrings or the glutes, right? I only really consider these feelings when I start to do hip hinge motions regarding like Romanian deadlifts or again, these hip flexors. Now over here, I'm doing sit-ups, right? I feel it a lot in my abs when I do this. And I'm just honestly trying to just get the reps in, get a lot of volume through and ensuring that I condition my core very well. I want to make sure that as I go down from the squat and as I continue to progress in the squat by lifting heavier weights, that I'm not screwing up the vulnerability of my spine, especially the lumbar region, which is the weight-bearing load. So yeah, that's basically it, and I'll finish it off here.